Hello everybody and welcome back to another Atris Studios tutorial. Now today what I wanted to do is create a very short part for our weapons base script. Now we're going to be creating a two-part series for this weapon series, I guess you could say, for this zombie game. And like I said, I already wrote up the script today just to make it easier on you guys, solved a lot of the issues that I ran into. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to do is I want you to go over to your depth camera, which if you've been following alongside the previous tutorial, which by the way, if you guys want me to redo that one because the audio on that was absolutely terrible, I will do that. But if you did watch that, you should have a setup with the player like this. And what we're going to do is just create a empty game object on this depth camera. And you can change this over to default if you want on the layer. That's just typically what we want to do. And of course, this is basically where our weapon is going to be attached to. Say, for instance, if we had a sniper rifle or whatnot, we would attach our weapon to that. I wonder, did I actually import my models for the guns? I think I did. Okay, I did. Cool. So let's just rename this as our weapon base. And as you can see, I already got a weapon base up here. And I'm just going to call this our example just for now. I'll erase this in a minute, but basically what you want to do is go over to your game view and just drag your weapon right on top of that like so. And there's a couple different things that we could do here. For now, we're not going to really focus too much on that. It's not really something that we need to look at, I guess you could say. But we do want to just reposition where it is. So make sure that whenever we roll in here, we just drag the weapon out. It's really, really, really small. So let's just scale it up a little bit. Go over to our game view, just reposition it wherever we want it to be. This, like I said, it's a reference. It's not necessarily what we're going to be using in the long run. But I just really just want to be able to have something that we could visually see. So that's good right there. All right, so what we want to do is we want to be able to add our script onto this object specifically. Let's go ahead and go over to our scripts folder. Now, this is a brand new script, so I'm going to go into this weapons folder I created, and we're going to open up this base weapons script. So if you don't have, I'm assuming that you don't have the script. So just make sure to right click over to create and select C# script. And we're going to go over this script step by step. So it shouldn't be that difficult to follow along with. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase all these notes, which I left inside here while setting this up. Okay, so at the top here, we have just the basic stuff that you'd be able to access. Of course, we have a couple serialized fields. These are basically fields we can adjust per weapon type that we have. And of course, right now, the second part of the series is going to cover the actual damage and raycasting and all that. This is just getting everything set up, so the second part's going to be easy, okay? So at the top here, we have our weapon types. This is a public enum, which we created at the bottom here. This weapon types just simply says, do we have a semi-automatic weapon or do we have an automatic weapon, right? Very important, okay? So we leave this variable here so we can be able to determine how our fire rate is going to activate. So semi-automatic, if you click on the mouse, it should allow us to be able to fire as fast as our mouse button is being pressed. Well, if it's an automatic, no matter how fast we press the button, it should only fire as fast as what we're holding it down as. All right. We also created this serialized float called a fire rate. This is how fast the weapon fires. We have the reload time, which I should change that to reload speed. I think I will, and we'll fix that along the way. So I'm going to go and copy that. We have our mag size. This is the size of our clip that we have inside the gun. And then we have our max ammo, which is the amount of ammo that we have stored away in our stock. So if you ever played games like Call of Duty or Borderlands, you have, of course, your primary ammo, which is the amount that you're using, and then the secondary ammo, which is the amount that you have available to add to your clip later on. So that's just what those are. We have these private integers. These are just basically our current mag ammo and our current stock ammo. So we can be able to adjust these values. I could have done a private get set value here instead, but I think that this is a lot easier for people to follow along with, okay? We also have a private float for our current fire and our current reload. These are just for us to be able to adjust things as well. We have a private bool called has fired and a is reloading. And these are pretty self-explanatory, but we'll get into the details as we go on down. Next, of course, is our audio settings. So we have a public audio source. Now the audio source it can be really anything, or anywhere inside of the game, but we're just going to allow us to be able to access this inside the Unity editor so we can drag that audio source onto that object. We also have a public audio clip for our shot, our reload, and our empty. This allows us to be able to set it up to where if we want to be able to make it sound a certain way, we're going to be able to do that. So, inside the void start function, we want to make sure that our current stock ammo is equal to our max ammo, and our current mag ammo is equal to our mag size. This way, we're not starting out with 0 or manually adding these things inside there. Okay, so to cover our fire rate, it's pretty much the same thing as covering our reload, okay? The only difference is the variable changes. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So underneath has fired, so whenever we start firing, we're going to take our current fire rate and we're going to add our fire rate multiplied by time.delta time. Then we're going to ask the question, we're going to say if our current fire rate is greater than or equal to 1, then we're going to set that value to 0, and then we're going to say that we're no longer firing, right? Which will stop this whole equation from running. It's a pretty easy setup. We could have also used an invoke, but I was running into some issues with that, so that's the reason why we go this way. Okay, so reloading, it's pretty much doing the exact same thing. And why? Hold on, why do I have this? Oh, okay. I was like, why is that reloading there? There we go. Okay, so the next thing with the is reloading, we're going to simply plug in that, since I did change that value. I think that's the only thing we need to change. All right, so here we just simply change the variables. So we're now having the current reload time. We're going to plus equal the reload speed, multiply it by time.delta time. Then we're going to say if our current reload is greater than or equal to 1, reset it. Set it back to 0, its reloading is equal to false, stops this method from running. Simple as that. And of course we have our firing. So let's go ahead and just do. So I like using switch gates on these because it's just easier to be able to make sure that you're only running specific things. So here we're running the switch on type, which was our enum at the top for our weapon types, right? So setting if it's a semi-automatic or if it's an automatic. So how you run switches or switch gates is that you use a case and a break method. So every single case is going to have a specific amount of things that you can run within that case. And then whenever you break, it means that it's going to return and it's no longer going to run that, that code at all. So just imagine a bunch of if statements that are condensed into cases instead. All right, so here we have two different conditions. So if our weapon type is equal to an automatic, right, we're going to check if we are pressing the fire 1, which is our left mouse button, according to the legacy version of Unity's input system. We're going to then say, so if our button is being held down, we're going to ask if we're not firing, or if we have not has fired, and we're not reloading. So just like that. Then we're going to fire our shot. Now this is a function which we're going to get to. So you can go ahead and just type that in right now. And then I know it's going to show an error code and whatnot, but yeah, like I said, we'll get to that in a minute. And of course, we have our get button up. So whenever we get our button up, we're going to do the same thing as we do with the semi-automatic. We're just going to sit there and say, if we are firing, so has fired, then we're going to reset. So we're going to say cur fire is equal to 0, and has fired is equal to false. So we can now fire again if we just click our mouse button. All right, so we break out of that automatic function, and now we're going to go into our case if we're using a semi-automatic. Now this one we added one more key, which is of course if we get our button down. So this and this is the exact same as these two right here. So inside here, all we're doing is adding the get button down for our left mouse button, and we're asking if we're not reloading, then we're going to fire our shot, just like that. Okay. All right, so this is just there if you want to use it, like if you want to manually reload. So I'm just using a hard code. If we press the R key, then we're going to reload. Just as simple as that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hide all this stuff, so then we're no longer seeing that. So we created a public void called reload. Reloading, self-explanatory, we're reloading. So we're going to first set this is equal to true. So just in case we press the reload button, we're going to make sure that we are reloading. We also want to be able to play an audio, which is going to be a reload sound. And keep in mind that this is another method or function that we're going to get to down below. So we will get to that. Just type it in. It's going to be red for a minute, but that's okay. All right. We're going to create a temporary integer value called temp, and we're going to set this equal to our current stock ammo, and we're going to add it to our current mag ammo. Basically combining them together, then we're going to get the difference between the two. So we're going to ask if this temp value is greater than our current mag size, which say for instance if we have 12 as our mag size and our temp value is like 13, right? Then if it's greater than that, which it is by 1, then it's going to set our mag size equal to our max mag size. So our current mag size equal to our mag size. And then we would take the difference of that value, so current stock ammo, and we're going to set it equal to our current temp value, which is these two combined, minus the max size of our mag, which is equal to 1 right now because, 13 minus 12 is 1. Then we're going to do an else statement. So else if our temp value is less than our max size. So basically if we had 7 bullets and we subtract that from, or we have 7 bullets available inside of this, what's it called? The current mag size, I guess you could say. Then we would basically take the difference. And as long as it's not equal to 0, we're going to remove all the value that we have inside this temp, and we're going to add it to our current mag size. So we only have the 7 bullets in stock. It doesn't equal 12, so we're just going to take all those and we're going to plug them into our current mag size, and then we're going to reset this current stock ammo and make it equal to 0, like so. Otherwise, we're going to return, just like so. We're going to run an else statement outside of all this. So this is basically if, as long as our current stock is greater than 1 right here, then we're going to run all this, and all this would equal true, right? But if that's not the case, so if all that is not equal, or if this is equal to 0, right, then we're going to basically check if the audio source is playing, which if it's not, this little exclamation point right there, then we're going to set the play audio to empty, okay? Just like so. All right, so for our fire shot, this is also very simple as well. We're going to just simply say, if our current mag size is greater or less than or equal to 0, then we're going to automatically reload and then return. So we're no longer going to run the rest of this function. We're just going to immediately reload, and that's it, right? And as for, then we're going to go below that. So if we do not return, we're going to play the audio, which is the shot sound. Then we're going to set our current mag ammo, and we're going to subtract it by 1. So if you ever see like a double negative or double positive on a integer, it means that we're just going to be incrementing it by one value. Then we're going to say has fired is equal to true. I told you we'd get to this one too. All right, so that's all that you have to do with your fire shot. Let's go ahead and get into our play audio. So with our play audio, we're going to basically require an audio clip here. So we just plug in an audio clip. We're going to call it clip. Then we're going to take our audio source. We're going to set this clip and we're going to make it equal to this new clip right here. Then we're going to set it to play. So anytime that we call this play audio, it's going to change the clip and then it's going to play the clip. The next thing we want, or not the next thing. All right, so we did get all that taken care of. If you need to go back over that, please do. And I know it's a lot of information. It took me about 40 minutes to actually write all this code out. But just make sure that you go through it all and make sure that you get everything right, okay? Otherwise, you might end up with some complications. Okay, so head back over into Unity. Yeah, it's awesome. Select your weapon. I'm going to go ahead and just close this a little bit so I can see. And we're going to add a couple components. So I'm going to add our weapon base here, like so. And we're going to make this an automatic weapon, right? Our fire rate is going to be about, let's go with a 6. We're going to change our reload speed to about a 2. I would advise 1.5 or higher on our, 1.5 or higher on our reload speed. That's just advisable because otherwise it's going to be too slow. With our mag size, let's go with let's do a 36, and we're going to give ourselves about 118 bullets. As for our audio source, make sure that we add an audio source here, and go ahead and take off play on awake. We don't really care about that. I'm going to drop the volume, which let's go and close this so I can see. I'm going to drop the volume down to a 0.25 so it's not too loud for you guys. Make sure to set to spatial blend of 2D because it is going to be on the player, and go ahead and close that down. Open back up the player and then just drag that audio source on there like so. Now you can get sounds wherever you can get sounds from for you guys. I got mine from the Unity Asset Store. I got this like a long time ago, and I just never really used it. So I'm going to look up shots. So let's look up any form of shot, see what we got. All right, let's go with the machine gun shot right there. So I'm going to select this. Actually, let's go with a more laser sounding weapon, I think. Ooh, I like that one. All right, we'll go with that one right there. So just drag that onto the shot. Let's find reload. So we're going to look up reload, and let's see what we got. Ooh. I like this one right here. So we're going to go ahead and select this and drag that on there. And then we need a blank shot. So I'm going to type in dry, and I think that one should work. So we're just going to drag that on there. Hit Control S, and let's go ahead and delete that one right there because we don't need it anymore. Select this, make sure we got all that good. Okay, good, great. So if we press play now and we just let it, well, compile. There we go. All right, so we're able to move around. Let's go ahead and fire. And as you can see, it's running really good. Hit our reload. If I hit reload now, okay, good. And I think that it's also running a little too slow. So let's go ahead and change this up. We're going to drop this down to about 12, drop this down to about 80, I think. So we're going to actually have to restart this just to make sure. So 12, and let's drop this down to about 20 bullets. And let's keep the reload speed the same. Hit Control S, hit play, and this should work a lot better, just a little bit better. So And we should run out of bullets pretty soon. And as you can see, it now runs the empty, and we can no longer do that. And just for demonstrational purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to drop the fire rate down to 1. And if we press play now, you'll see that it actually slows down the fire, and it works great. So if I hold it down, boom, done. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos. If you have any questions regarding this tutorial or any of my other tutorials, make sure to leave those inside the comments section below. Also, if you have an idea for this game, or you have some form of game that you want to be able to develop and you have no idea how to work on it, make sure to leave that inside the comments section below, and I'll try to help you out as best as I can. But yeah, alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.